Well, hello there, everybody. I think it says that we are live. Let me make sure. Yep, it says you got it. We got it. So we're here. You got it. Get it. Let's go ahead and make it live. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for, enduing us with your energy and your love and your unity. So we speak favor right back at you. Grace is all over the place. And happy birthday, David Berry. David, we love you, man. And, it is the season for Geminis. And so all of us Geminis.
That's right. Your birthday soon, Wayne.
Yes, I have next Sunday. So who else? Who else? Courtney, you're a Gemini, right?
No, I'm a Leo. So it's every season for me.
Yeah. I get the lion and I get the fresh meat kind of scenario going on,
You gotta laugh at it.
It's kind of like the song goes, I'm wondering where the lions are.
Do you know my nursery rhyme when I was a baby was In the Jungle? My mom would sing it so soft and sweet and quiet and low. Yeah, that's my nursery rhyme is In the Jungle.
Wow, I like that song too. Yeah. I also like where the lions are, and have you ever listened to the lyrics of that song? The guy is thinking about dying, and he's thinking, all right, so I've been thinking about eternity. And if I pass over there, where are the lions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, their head was really in a very advanced place,
Yes, I agree.
Anyway, Jules, good morning to you. It's you're into my future and I'm in your past. So that really shows that we are truly multi-time dimensional creatures.
Yeah. And we've actually got some cold weather.
Well, I see that you're rather are covered up,
Right.
And today we're actually getting hot weather.
We have Celsius, so it's probably about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius, which is getting down to freezing.
Yeah.
Some of the states, some of the country actually had I think nearly a good meter of snow in the Alps where they do the skiing.
Really? Yes, I love this. Wow.
So, I love blowing winter. And we go, because we're up here, we're going, oh shit, that's coming off snow somewhere.
Yeah.
So what do y'all use for heating in that part of the world?
Well, some places, because in Queensland where we are, we build Queenslanders. They're homes that are off the ground to catch the breeze in the summer. And when it floods, the home don't get wet sort of thing, Whereas a lot of modern homes here, of course, they're brick and or steel framed or wood framed, and they're built them on the ground because it's cheaper, of course, instead of putting it up. Well, they have air conditioning, obviously, which reverse cycle, so it's cool in the summer and warm in the winter. But the house we built for many years. Here we didn't have anything because it's high at that one end, it's low at the front and high, and so we get a beautiful breeze coming up our valley. Well, a few years ago it got a little bit too hot and I said to Ian, how about we put air conditioners, because they're not my favorite thing. I said, how about we put some air conditioners in, but they hardly go on, you just rug up. That's what you do, is you just put more layers on, so we don't have a fireplace here. Some homes might, but we don't.
Interesting. In the South, many of the mansions that were built, particularly in Savannah and that area, is that the centers always had the turret, the dome on that. And that was strictly because for the same purpose. It provided a breeze in the hot summer months, which were very humid. And in the wintertime, it provided the reverse. So guess those old timers knew what the hell they were thinking and doing, huh? And people look at us and they go, well, you're an old timer. Like hell. But anyway, so speaking of old timers, how you doing, Lucky?
Really
Y'all thought I was going to go to Brian, didn't you?
Aww.
I saw it. But Francis, seriously, how are you?
Doing okay. My wife's progressing along. Life's okay, life with cancer. And so she's progressing. It's things are getting better, but it's a slow process.
Day by day.
Oh, absolutely. Day by day. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
Well, I'm expecting a good report. So, and sometimes when you're plotting a course to arrive at a destination, it may seem like you're off course, but actually it was part of the journey anyway. So,
yeah,
that's the way I'm just looking at it.
Yeah, enjoy the journey.
Sorry, Lucky, go ahead, baby.
No, I enjoy the journey. Forget the destination. Destination's up ahead, and have to enjoy the journey. That's how it is. No matter what the journey is, got to learn to enjoy it. That's it.
Right on.
That is saying every day I get better, it gets better, or I get better in every way. Just yesterday, I caught myself saying it to myself. And I then stopped and I went, oh my goodness, you were saying that like through all of my recovery of the surgery. It helps. I was saying it without even being conscious of it. So even if we're not conscious, and it's that's the good stuff to have programmed into us. Right.
I have every version of it written down. I also translated to Thai for my wife. My wife is Thai. So I translated into Thai for her, 2 different versions, and asked her to look at the English and the Thai and which one she preferred, and asked her to do it at least a few times a day. Doing it 20 times a day is above her, but sometimes that's too much. But for me, I do it 20 times when I first wake up, 20 times when I go to sleep, and then throughout the day. And just, I have 6 different kinds, different types of sayings, and just whatever one comes in my head, just repeat it like 5 times at least. But I'm trying to
sing it.
Keep myself positive. Yeah.
And it's interesting, Courtney, you say that, because Lynn, in her workings, because we have another office upstairs, she says, now you got me saying it.
Yeah.
And I said, hun, now we got that factor of not multiplications thereof, but we're actually doing to the power of.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yes.
Yeah. It's not multiplication. Yeah. We're now into, as I told her, we're into the second power.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's odd because as y'all were talking, Lucky, can you speak Thai?
No, I tried learning it. I taught myself French, didn't have a problem with it. I figured I'd teach myself Thai. I know some. The joke is our cats know more Thai than I do. Because my wife will speak Thai to the cats and they do exactly what she tells them. And I don't know what she told them to do. And then my son,
there's something there.
My son doesn't know any Thai. Her friend taught all her kids Thai. Her friend has got 4 kids. We have 1 kid. And my wife is a little jealous, but I'm like, you just had to keep to it. And, he's a great kid. He just never learned Thai.
As you were talking, Lucky, if anyone in the audience and in the Soul Tribe and in your extended contacts, I'd love to have, every day in every way, things are getting better day by day in different languages. Because what I'd like to see is the vibration between English and a native tongue of another culture.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's originally in French, and I have that, which I've been trying to because rudimentary French is what I know, but I enjoy the language. So I do say it in French occasionally, not whole 5 times, but I said, I should do that. I should probably do it the whole 20 times, but.
Yeah, I'd love to get a recording of it, and then we could make it available to everybody, because I think that there would be a connection. I mean, I speak in tongues, and I'm very conscious of the vibration. I mean, it is what they call the roch, the language of the spirit. So yeah. So speaking of spirit, Grandpa Brian, how are you?
Well, good. Still battling this cold a little bit.
Still got that, huh?
Yeah.
Time for you to tell it to take a hike.
Yep.
Like that, never thought.
Spent a lot of time with the egregore in the chamber this week. actually spent a lot of time with my guides this week. I was actually told by my mentor, teacher, and the medium that I work with, you need to stay in your body for the next few days, because I've just been, I mean, continuously out there. So other than that, I mean, I've got great rest this week for some reason. It was just great rest.
And by the way, if you're into the affirmation, if you talk, because I say that, we have gifts coming to us each day. Well, that's in recognition of our egregore.
Yep.
I mean, it's not up to me to figure out where it's going to be coming from. I mean, that's its job. So,
yep.
Just how I look at it. So, as we have concluded this, since the three of y'all speaking, because Jules, you're with me, we're the odd person out. But so week 6, you guys have, and gals, as I always like to say, the dude and dudettes. So I'd like to get all three of your perspectives of how you would sum up this amazing experiment that lasted for 45 days.
Overall, I do believe it was a success. There are those that I think altogether, on an average last 3 weeks, there was at least 31 people that got at least one of them right. There's quite a few people that, I mean, they're good, but they're kind of doubting themselves, doubting their ability. You know what I'm saying? Because I was talking to one, and always go with the first thought that comes to your head, because usually that's the right one. Don't second guess what's coming to you. Well, that ain't what I was originally thinking when, I first went to sit down to do this meditation, because sometimes you let thoughts get in the way, and all of a sudden it does come to you, but that wasn't what you were thinking before you started meditating. So you almost kind of doubt what came to you.
Little bandits is what I call them.
Yeah. So
sons of bitches.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential with quite a few of the people that participated in this experiment. I mean,
now 31, and I'm gathering that 31 was consistent with, what was it, 50, 55 in the last week? Because I saw that the number was a little bit down. Is that right, Courtney?
Yeah. So, well, we started at 82 really signed up, and then we slowly dwindled down. And the midweeks, I'm going to say week 3, 4, 5, we stayed in that general 55, 60 area. And then in the last one, we only had 47 responses, but 6 weeks is a long time, and we're into summer. There were people on vacation. There were people
Memorial Day.
Right. So did they do it eventually? Maybe, but they just didn't get the responses back in time. So we had to go off of the 47. And I do want to agree with what Grandpa Brian just said. There is about a 25 to 32 count of people. This is why we were so successful, that are very talented. Some of them, yes, you're doubting yourself way too much. And we have tons of documentation to back that up. As far as, you give us the key word or shape, that's wrong. But then if I read your description, you were looking at stars the entire time. Why'd you tell me a cross? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's just that kind of thing. But also, there are people, so out of that, maybe let's just say 30, let's just round it to 30. Out of that 30, I would say a good 12 of them, they are running on their intuition. And I believe if they just had a little bit more training, a little bit more practice, that intuition, because intuition and psychic is very close. They're brother and sister.
You have to have it and trust it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And they were just using their intuition and nailing things all the time, that I think, I mean, the group could, I'm kind of speechless because I was not expecting that at the beginning. I really wasn't, even though I believe in the soul tribe. I believe all people are capable of this, but we ended up being so successful because there was that locked in 30 that showed up all the time and very talented people. So, I mean, that right there, whew, yeah.
If I got the math right, so I got about 41, did you say, was about the number we had? And then out of that 30, we're actually hitting on at least.
Yeah, the last report between group 1 and group 2, we had received, I think, 47 responses.
Okay. All right. That is remarkable.
Yeah. And within that, I will say, and we always kind of rolled around the 55 mark. So we only dropped a couple, and it was because of holidays and life and what have you. That's fine. But yes, within, let's say, just make that 50. Within that 50, there's at least 30 that's like, whoa, yeah, they're doing really good.
So look at that. That's nearly 77%.
Yeah. Oh, and Wayne, I have to say something. I was so crazy last weekend. I'm going to admit to my faults. The word was family.
You got faults?
Oh,
shit, man. I'm leaving. I'm sorry, folks. I mean, I thought it.
The word was family. And for some reason, all day Saturday, I'm transmitting the word community. I mean, I just was so jumbled up with stuff. I will tell you, somebody in group 2 obviously can hear me. Because they said the word community. And I was just like, and then I'm on the phone with Brian, and he's like, the word was family, Courtney. I'm like, really? Well, it's all the same jazz, man.
but they truly are synonymous with one another. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. In fact, they're interchangeable. Are they not, Jules? I mean, you've got community, family. I mean, isn't that what a family is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because some people have their community as their family because they've got no family.
Yeah. Some people choose
That's
it that
true.
way.
That is true. Yeah. Hey, Jen. Good to see you, hon.
Hey.
Hello, Jenny.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I've had the operation on both feet a couple of days ago, so I'm hopefully that's the final one. So I'm a bit sore, but I'm all good. I'm just wanting that to be the final one.
Are you healing quickly, I trust?
Well, yeah, but I hadn't rested the first, like they've done it in 2 lots and I hadn't rested at all. I was supposed to, be really well rested for 6 to 8 weeks. I didn't do that. So I've ended up getting the first site redressed on both feet, and then had to have the second part on the other toes on the 2 feet, not the other 2 feet, the same 2 feet. So I look like a sort of a frog.
A hobbit.
Yeah, like a frog walking around. I don't know if I can get the right angle, but like a frog walking around with these bandages on both feet. So it's just a bit awkward. So I'm having to rest. I don't like.
But that is a requirement.
It's a requirement. The mother has said to me, sit down.
Sit your ass down, girl.
Otherwise, I will bandage all other feet one way or the other.
Yes.
All of the toes, all of the hands. So, I'm going to just have to take the word and listen. And the surgeon put me in for three daily doctor's appointments with the nurse. Now, you can't get a nurse or doctor's appointment in this country for love nor money right now. So I know he'd be serious in that, you're going to go and you're going to, all of a sudden gone dark. Oh, I'm flashing. Damn, I'm listening, universe, for goodness sake. You can't do that shit. So I don't know what, my lights just literally flashed out. So these are the messages I've been getting for the last couple of days. So I'm listening, and I'm listening intently. I don't know what's wrong. And so yeah, I'm listening.
Good, good, good. Because
I'm back on.
That's what I'll be sending to you. Sit your butt down and relax. I mean, this is the time for people to wait on you, and which, you know, you see, once again, we had that whole thing. We love serving others, but when it comes to us, you know,
yeah, not good at it. No.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you know, Courtney, you said you actually had some faults, and I'm flabbergasted, you know, but one of, you know, it's like
oh, that's a huge fault of mine too. It's been very difficult, and I've even had neighbors that have said, we don't want to see you mowing the lawn. And I'm like, damn, because it's hard.
Because you've had surgery about 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to do, like, mowing the lawn. I definitely can't do for quite a while, especially not my lawn. And because I push mow it. And I even have neighbors, and I'm like, I know. But it's hard, especially if I couldn't imagine my feet though. So Jennifer, maybe it is that they're trying to flash all the lights to say, hey, if you just sit and be quiet for a while, we have a lot to say. So maybe, it's not just receiving.
You know what? You're so right, because I'm getting lots of like downloads constantly. I'm taking notes the last 2 days, and I'm like, all right. So you're right. It's all in good.
I usually call that kind of stuff. Sorry, I'm a fly. I usually call that stuff like mini divine interventions.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've been going too fast, too hard, too furious for too long, and they've been trying to talk to me, and I keep going, yeah, okay, later.
Yeah, later. I'll remember that. I'll remember, and then it's like I'm prodding you later to say, what was that?
And they'll make that later happen and lay me out in some way to force me to go, okay, now what are you saying? You know? Yeah.
This is maybe selfish. You know, we really need y'all and your energy. So listen to your body, and then listen to your practitioner, and get yourself better. Of course, Courtney, you have just this, you know, high energy level anyway. It's like, okay. But
Brad's scared. He's like, what's August going to be?
Exactly. It's going to be hot, and it's going to be fabulous. But I want to get back on this, because this is remarkable. I was doing the math on this. So it's almost 77%, little over, that you think about this group that has made connection and demonstrated it in a consistent manner. I have no doubt that if we had extended it out, it could have potentially even gotten higher, but that number is just remarkable. So, Lucky, what, from your perspective, you watch the data, you've seen this when we first started it to where it's ending. Give me your assessment.
We lack focus. Honestly, I'm much more stricter than the rest of them.
That's all right. You know, analytics is fine. We need the analytical mind.
Well, from the beginning, I'm kind of disappointed at people who didn't send any emails. If you're not going to participate that week, I was good with just can't participate this week. The people who don't send any emails for 2 weeks and then get back in the third week, and I'm kind of the kind of person, like, their data throws everything off. And if I started this all over again, I would say there's no strikes. You get one strike. If you don't send an email, you're out. I'm sorry. And that was my thing, because I really felt that the people who are not in with both feet really did dilute the waters. And I'm sorry, Jen.
Sorry, that tickled me there. Sorry, I'm listening.
That was Jennifer.
It's not me.
You need to be serious.
I'm resting these feet.
We need to be serious. And that's one of the things is you can't participate this week. Sending an email saying can't participate, I'm happy with that. But having no communication at all, we needed more focus, and I didn't feel we had enough of the focus as a collective. And there were some who were so spot on that their data was diluted, and that kind of disappointed me. But of course, I had to present all the data that was presented to me, I had to use. And from that point of view, I was more impressed with the 3rd and 4th than the 5th and 6th weeks. But that's because I'm looking at the data from a whole different. Courtney can see a much more broader picture than I am. Like you said, family, friendship, community, all those words. To me, I see family. There's no family there.
You're very black and white with Lucky.
But that's the problem, because I'm also dealing with a whole different perspective and things where I deal with guides who are just like very cut and dry, very blunt, very abrupt, kind of rude and obnoxious. But I'm used to dealing with them.
Almost sound like they're Vulcan.
Oh, maybe.
That's the truth.
Doesn't it? I mean, strict analytics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Some of my guides are like that. The other guys that I have with me are like children running, literally children size, running around, trying to get me on the goofier side of things. And but I have dichotomy in my life, and I really need merging, and which is this project is supposed to teach me, the merging idea. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, by the 5th or 6th week, I'm looking at the data going, I'm not as impressed, because I really thought we were going up. But yes, if I had to do this all again, I'd want more. I want people to be serious, and also people who are outside of the, not participating. They dilute the waters too. So I needed people who are, the focus, the people who are in it to win it. They're the people I want in a group that if I want to do this again, because I really want to succeed. But in the whole picture, all the group of things, the data to me is so diluted from the different mindsets.
What did you have in your mind's eye, Lucky, when for what was succeeding? What was a success in your mind's eye as a final success?
Success for me was the chamber itself. The chamber itself was pure success.
Yes.
And for me personally, the egregore became less of a focus for me. And there are other reasons that Griffith Brian can talk about. But for me, the chamber and meeting different people, getting into interaction with the different energies, because when you come and you're a spiritual being, you come, sometimes you drop your physical self and you are pure spirit. And those people were my goal. They were the ones that were the best part of the project. That part of the project of different people interacting, learning about each other, experiencing the chamber itself, and experiencing each other's pure spiritual energy. That was success to me. Getting the symbols and signs, I can work around that, I can figure that out. But the interaction, when they say got a connection or didn't get a connection with people, and even those who said I didn't get a connection, but I could feel, to me, that's a connection. You've got a connection there because I could feel this energy. And if you look at the different people with their stories, God, those stories, some of those stories went on for too long.
Y'all are keeping these, right? Are you keeping the files?
I have all of them under, I filtered out, my emails all filtered out to have all of them in that. And I was going to print them out, but there's just so much data.
So keep that data. There most likely will be additional clinical research looking at this. So continue.
I lost track.
No.
Success.
Well, hold on. Sorry, John. What?
So you were on success, people connecting.
People connecting on the spiritual level. Yeah, I mean, and also there was something else outside of this whole thing where outside the chamber itself, we had guardian angels, guardian spirits, positive entities who were outside, whose jobs were to stay hands off. But they were watching and they were very impressed with what we did. They were very happy with what we did. And some of them expected more, but most of the time for a good 10% of us, we were excelsior. We excelled. We went far beyond expectations from the spiritual wise. But those are the spirits I dealt with. And because they're very cut and dry and very clinical, but they were very happy about the situation.
You see, if we ever had a space flight and this was my crew, we need a Lucky, because, And, you know, I appreciate that in you, Lucky, for sure, because, you know, the honesty, the brutal honesty helps keeps us, the rest of us, all honest as well.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I need a Lucky because I'm in spirit a lot of the time. This body is on autopilot much of the time. I think that's half of the reason I have these accidents. Like, you know,
No, you have attachments. You have attachments all over you. I see them. You've got attachments on you. I can see them on you, right behind you, looking at me right behind you. You have attachment on you.
Really?
So I would say,
yes,
let's
it's
move
huge.
On. Hold on, Lucky. I want to piggyback just off of Lucky for a minute.
Please.
What he's talking about too is for me personally, from the very beginning, I think there needed to be more communication about, because I mean, you wrote that beautiful, Wayne, I gotta say, you wrote that beautiful thing. I was still having people in week 4 asking me to send it to them when I had already sent it like 2 or 3 times. So what I'm saying is I think we needed to dedicate more time to actually establish this is what we're looking for. This is who, you know, if you're committed, this is the goals that we're trying to achieve, and really what all of it, just more dialogue, parameters, this and that. I think Brian wants to talk a bit about that, because that's what really kind of messed up the email exchanges, or this is a big thing, guys. Please communicate. And what also, Wayne, at the very beginning, you were releasing the symbols and the words and stuff on Mondays. We were not even receiving half the emails back by then. So, and I'm not trying to say people are liars, because the majority of them that came back after that, it was true. You could read their meditation, you could read it. But there were a few that I was like, did you hit so spot on because Wayne told you at 2:00? You see what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't sure. I try not to feel that way or think that way, but so there just needed to be more communication, outline. This is exactly how it's going to flow. But you know what, guys, we had such difficulty right before that we weren't really sure that's where that aspect kind of fell to the wayside, and we saw it in the data. We very much saw it in the data. Yeah.
That was one of those psychic bombs, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, though, Brian and I, and Lucky, because all 3 of us have communicated a lot. Brian was real keen also about setting up parameters and boundaries and stuff for, go ahead, Brian, and you talk about it.
Okay. I got a lot of messages this week. I spent a lot of time in the chamber and with the egregore. Like Lucky said, they were hands off, but now the experiment was over. They started giving me information, basically by where we first started screwing up.
Hey, it was our first time.
Yeah.
But, still like, great. I want to enforce that. I mean, guys, we kicked butt.
Right. I mean, no one knew what the hell they were doing. I mean,
we're learning. Yeah.
So it should have been like a 7 to 8 week program, and the first 2 weeks should have been all about telepathically connecting. Then at that point in time, once we started establishing the telepathic connections, we needed to come up with the purpose for our egregore and the name for the egregore at that point in time. Plus, we needed to put up basically parameters, guidelines, boundaries, whatever you want to call it, to what he can do and what he could not do. That's what I've been doing this past week, because he was starting to get a little bit out of control. He was going and visiting people at their homes without their knowledge. And that's not good. So I sat down with him Tuesday.
Who's the voyeur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sat down with him for probably about 45 minutes Tuesday night. And I got him to agree with this, and we actually shook hands on this agreement. He is to only operate in love and light. He is not allowed to harm any living being, and that includes other thought forms. He is bound by basically universal law. He has to, you ask a question, he has to answer truthfully. He cannot lie or deceive. Guards that I put up for him, I've been teaching him how to protect himself against negative energy coming his way. I've showed him how to release it, get rid of it, send it outside the chamber, and showed him the beings that are there to take this negative energy, send it to the universe to recycle into good energy. We can't abuse him.
Brian, can I interrupt for a moment?
Yeah.
So to explain to people why you're doing this. And Wayne, I will say you did talk about all this stuff prior to us doing it. You said we got to give him the character traits. We got to give him a name. And also we got to tell him what he can and cannot do. You did talk about this. So that is not, it's just because everything did happen fast and there was the chaos prior. Okay. So what we started seeing is how connected he is to our energy. And yes, he does visit people. That's got to stop, because all of a sudden he's there and we're not. Now, it's not to harm. Kind of see him as like a child that's watching you to learn and grow and understand and learn, as a child would. Well, you might not want him there when you're doing whatever you're doing. You might not want, and he is so connected to our energy as we are all connected together now. The soul tribe is very connected now. That got established very fast. And I think it's because everybody kind of already was. Well, then he attached to the entire tribe, but also individuals to learn, to grow, to become who he's supposed to become, and visiting people. And that's why, so think of it as a child, like that. He's trying to learn off of us. He's trying to develop who he is individually and collectively. At the same time, children become teenagers. Teenagers need boundaries. Teenagers need rules, or they're crazy teenagers, right? That's why Brian went in to establish, wait. We might have bypassed this at the beginning. You can't go visit people on random if they're not giving you permission. You can't do this. You can't do, basically laying down the law for what would be an almost grown egregore teenage stage, because he's already learned so much from us. That I just wanted to explain that so people didn't go, whoa, Brian, what are you doing that for? It's because of that. I mean, he's growing, learning. Yeah. Real quick though, everyone, he's attached to our thoughts and doings. So that does mean he's also attached to our thoughts and doings that are also negative, positive and negative. It lives within both of us. It's the balance. He's not, in our three humble opinions, he is not at a level yet to be able to distinguish good and bad. That's what we're trying to get him to by just focusing on the good, if that makes sense. Yep.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So, like I said, I put boundary and guidelines up for us, so that way we are not abusing him, taking advantage of him, making him do things that he was not made for. Like, say someone's getting attacked by a negative energy. Well, I want the egregore to get rid of this. He's there to help us prosper and grow.
Yeah.
You need help fighting a negative energy? Email me. I've done many battles with negative entities, and I've always come out on top, and I don't even have a kink in my armor. Yeah. I will show you, and I will come and do it. That is not what he's here for, to fight our battles. He's here to help us manifest things in our lives and what we want in our lives. Help us grow and prosper. So that being said, he's ready to use. Just be conscious of what you actually want him to do. Because, you know,
may I also, Brian, real
if he
quick?
starts, hold on, if he starts moving to that negative side, I mean, all this is safety protocols for us and him.
Yeah.
And we can't have him move it. We can't even have it where he's at 50-50. It always has to be that heavy on the love side. We can't allow this to become a negative entity, because if it becomes a negative entity and starts thriving as a negative entity, we're going to have to destroy it. And I put so much love and energy into this thing, and that's the last thing I would ever want to do. I mean, Gift is beautiful, and that is, he wants to be called Gift. That's the name he wants to be called. He's not going to answer to any other name but Gift. He loves that
Can I
name.
say something?
Yes.
So to piggyback, I'm sorry, real quick though, when Brian was just talking about giving him tasks, because also he's like any other, now he's kind of like a dog in that way of like, give him a task and they love it. You know what I mean? Like, he really does want to work for us. He really does. I mean, he kept telling me, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready. I want to work. I want to work. Like, he's excited. He wants to help us. He wants to have us, you know, be prosperous and favor. What started kind of shifting was everybody's different interpretations of what words meant for them. And what I mean by that is, and I'm just going to throw out a random example, okay? I might have somebody that is putting words like power, strength, stuff like that onto him. And then if you read the description of what's going on in their personal life, the power and strength is not to help me move a box or help me to stay faithful. The power and strength is because, I don't know, my neighborhood's becoming full of gang members. And that's two examples. But do you see what I'm saying? People, there were a lot of people that were putting words like sarcasm, tricky, this and that. Well, I don't want my egregore tricky, because that ends up being tricky. Also, sarcasm is actually negativity just in humor. So everybody started putting these words on him that it was like, oh, because it's people's interpretations of what he's being used for. And also they're different. Me, did I want strength? Yeah, to help me move a box, because I'm not supposed to move anything more than a gallon of milk. That's different than strength because stuff in my home life, do you see what we're trying to get at as why we have to very much communicate with him, only love and light. You're not here to harm any other being of energy, period. Because, once again, as Lucky stated before, all of this has been a great learning experience. I mean, fast learning, okay? All of this kind of stuff needed to be much more talked about and established at the beginning, because we also got to see what changes in people's lives over a 6-week time period. You could be doing great, and then all of a sudden something happens, like Lucky knows, with his wife in those 6 weeks. You can be doing this, and then all of a sudden your energy changes and you're putting on now different words, different markers onto this being that hasn't even formed or developed and learned itself. So to make it very short and sweet for me, the amount we learned through this, I mean, especially Lucky and I, because we were the closest to all the data, all the communication, what's happening here, what's happening with the chamber. We also had people saying stuff like, I feel like the chamber is coming to me now, when we should be going to the chamber. There's been such interesting. So this is not just all one person. This is not all, I'm not trying to nobody's being called out. What I'm saying is that the process over 6 weeks was so in depth on vast many positives, if we need to use that kind of energy, positives. And then some that it's like, oh, this is a red flag. Oh, this is a red flag. So as a learning, the learning was amazing. I mean, I told Lucky the other night on the phone, I said, Lucky, if you and I wanted to write a book, we got the information. You know what I mean? Of how this really looks in practical reality for us humans that can't stay positive, love, and light all the time. That's the thing. I mean, if somebody last Sunday, here's an example. Last Sunday, my dog, as I'm walking him, got into something with somebody else's dog, and I was holding back my 60-pound dog. I end up on the ground. She's just standing on her porch watching. I can guarantee you the stuff coming out of my mouth was not love and light. He was also listening and watching that. That's what we're trying to say, is putting it into practical reality stuff for us. There's a lot of learning for us humans and the egregore still, a lot. Yeah. So Brian is making parameters. So let me just recap. He cannot visit you unless you want him to, and he has permission by you. He cannot send any harm to any being of energy, which includes all beings. What's the other one? He can only be of love and light and service and bestow to us. What's some more, Brian? Those were the key.
Yeah, those were the keys. The other ones are, kind of irrelative. I mean, but he knows what he can and cannot do. And as long as he knows and he respects it, one thing Lucky told me, he was like, the egregore really respects you. And I think that's because I have taken the time to talk to him, to work with him, to show him. One of the last things I did last night, I created his own chakra system. So he actually has chakras inside him. So the crown chakra, when his crown chakra is open, that's to receive information from us. Right. His third eye is being able to go into his inner self. The throat chakra is to be able to communicate with us. The heart chakra, which I hope he uses the most, and then the solar plex chakra, that's where you take in your energy. And I told him you can only take in positive energy from the soul tribe there and from the universe. We have to work on the abdominal one. That's your emotion. So yeah, when he gets older, we'll work on that. But then the grounding one is basically to help him keep connected with us.
Excellent.
I just have one thing. I have one thing. He is only using he is only a placeholder. It is not male or female. Please don't think we're assigning male to this entity. It is genderless. There's no gender to this. It's he or she. So we're using he just as a placeholder. So please no one think that this is only male entity. This is a genderless entity. I just want to make that clear, because there's a lot who's going to get confused and use the masculine energy. There is no masculine energy. There is no feminine energy. It's balanced. It's a balanced entity. Energy. Okay, go on. Move on again. I just want to establish that.
Thank you,
well,
Brian,
that's from all the years of programming.
Oh, yeah. I just heard that. Yeah, I just heard you say that you did that last night. We didn't talk yet today. Thank you for that. That's beautiful and wonderful. Because one of the things I learned very early on, one of his biggest tasks is that to help us telepathically communicate with each other without having to go to the chamber. So like Wayne, at one point, I didn't tell you this, but at one point I said, because that's when he was like, I want to work. And I said, okay, send Wayne this word, send Brian this word, and I wanted to see, but we ended up talking about, well, I never even asked him, but that is one of his tasks, is that, so we don't always have to be in the chamber for me to say, hey, Brian, have a good day. He can send that. So, but he's got to have permission by you to send that message. That's the type of stuff, we're just creating balance. Order and balance is the law of the cosmos, as Toth says. That's what we're doing. Order and balance. So that is one of his jobs. if you guys want to start talking without having to go in the chamber because you're doing dishes, you can send a message to Brian, you know, or Lucky or whomever, Jennifer, it don't matter. Wayne, what are you thinking? You're so quiet right now.
I mean, I'm sitting here like, and this is in the positive way of Dr. Frankenstein, you know, it's like, you know, I'm Dr. Strange and, you know, I'm Dr. You see what has been created here. And this just started out as a thought, and it's grown in its complexity. It's grown in its purpose. And so I'm kind of like probably Jules and everyone else, I'm taking all this in because this is remarkable. Jules, you were going to say something. What was it, dear?
Well, I know Lucky come in and said what he said because that's what he was picking up from me was this he thing. And if you were, I think you've chosen a name, his gift. So instead of saying he or she, use the gift. Just keep saying, because that's the name, right?
Yeah.
That's the energy you want it to be. Because if you keep saying this he business, and that it has a connotation around it, I can see that you haven't put the divine feminine in of the love in it because you keep saying he. Now, if it was balanced, there would not be the issue.
Well, so Jules, a lot of people did. A lot of people, it's not even masculine at all for them. I mean, it's like goddess, it is all feminine. So
no, well, it's just the way it's coming across on here right now, the way I was reading the message, okay, by observing, this is where you have, like you said, it should have had its name at the start. Yeah. But that's okay because this is what you have learned. Right. So now that you've given it the name, because it is so powerful, because I've just done a little video on that yesterday, the name. Everybody's got the name instead of labels of he or she or any label that we give things. That's what you want it to be. So use that when you're talking about the energy is gift. Okay.
You know, when you send an animation, you send a GIF file. Did you ever think about that?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
you're animating it, aren't you?
Yes, you are. I mean, I'm looking at the name GIFT, and I'm sure there is significance, and we'll see it more as I guess we look in there. But Grace, there you go. I got intuition.
You know what Jules was just talking about, because we watched actually the progression in the data. Lucky and I at the beginning called it, and most people were calling it. And then in the data, we got a lot of people were referring to, well, what we were still calling it. And then Lucky and I were like, I don't know. A lot of people it was vastly more feminine. A lot of people, because they wanted the love and this and that. But Lucky and I kept calling in him when we would be on our private calls, and then some other people too, because we needed to discuss more of the red flags. So it's interesting how the majority of the emails, it's feminine because they're experiencing positive. The ones that weren't even talking so much about the egregore, but putting very interesting stuff attached unknowingly, that was still it. But then when Lucky and I'd be talking, it'd be he, because we were discussing red flags. So I do find that interesting.
And I just came up, this came to me.
If you look at the word, it is in gift, or if, you know, GIFT, you've got that in the word as well.
Yeah, so, and so I'm happy we finally decided on that. It's like week 6. So yeah, Brian's right. We got to do that at the beginning.
So gift for me is go inside for truth.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, real nice.
That's nice.
That's what came to me. Go inside for truth. Isn't that what we always say? You know, dark night of the soul, healing, connecting. It's, you know, the kingdom of heaven is within. I mean, isn't that what gift is? Go inside for truth. Isn't that what we're all seeking?
Yeah, the spark, the flame, inner wisdom. Yeah.
I mean, if that isn't more feminine, I don't know what is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's just got the divine feminine just all over, you know. Go inside for truth. Isn't that what the goddess tells us? I mean,
Good job.
yeah, I'm sitting here going, is it just me seeing this, or is this because this is not coincidental? So it truly is a gift. I mean, if you go inside for the truth, that's something no one can take from you.
Which also has masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have that
And all
has
inside of
naturally
us. Yeah.
happened. We've integrated that now on the planet.
Yes.
Is the
yeah.
masculine and the feminine, and
Yeah.
that is balance.
Yes.
I'm going to make a t-shirt with that. I like that. Go inside for truth. I mean,
Yeah,
that's above every religion, every philosophy, you know, ideology. I mean, how can you go wrong on that? What a being that we've created here. I mean, this is fantastic. Didn't even get to what the title was, but this is just freaking phenomenal. It gives me identification much more now, because, you know, when I see what the gift is within every one of us. That's where the egregore lives.
Yes, tap into that.
Yeah. It doesn't need the chamber because you are the chamber.
Right.
That's right. We are the chamber.
We are the chamber.
The house. We have every single thing we require in this form. There's nothing outside of us.
We are the egregore. See, so Lucky and I will speak truth here. Lucky and I, halfway through this, we had some difficulty because we fully became aware of the fact that we are actually the egregores from the great source. We're the thoughts. And so we questioned, while we started seeing all this shifting and changing, if what we were doing was correct and right, because we are the egregores that are supposed to be doing exactly why we made it. We're supposed to be the bustos. We are the gifts of the world. So at some point, Lucky and I were very much in conversation about that, as far as, can the egregore get to the conscious level of us humans to be what we should be doing anyways? That's what our conversation was. How high of a conscious level can the egregore actually become if he's not created so much from source, but more from the source within us? We still don't know yet. We still don't know, but that was a huge topic of conversation, that we are the actual thought form from the grand source, God, all Father, all whatever you want to call it, Barbello. We are from that as the thought form that's supposed to be doing the gift in the first place. So
thank you all for your gifts and talents, and enjoy always.
Yeah.
See? Yep. Well, this is interesting. Lots. What a discovery. Francis, I love the backdrop on you. That is just one of the most idyllic pictures right there. I mean, it's the essence of serenity. You know, I love that. So, well, panel, Jennifer, I'm just going to speak healing to your feet. I mean,
that's good. It's all good. They will heal. I just need to stop. That's all. There's nothing else.
Put them up for a day or so.
At the back of your toes, Jennifer. You'll heal because it's at the back of your toes.
Yeah. yeah. I'm just sitting there.
Got that.
What came up for me there is that this brings up egregoric politics, doesn't it? In that I wished I'd been writing down there, because there's a few things that come up, isn't there, with this, and nothing's a negative really, in that even the negatives are positives, because you can't just actually feed just positive into anything, because anything that we know of in this universe needs a balance of the two. And so even the negative or more seemingly negative lessons or red flags that have been highlighted ultimately can be transmuted into useful positives and vice versa, positives turned into useful negatives. But it does bring up like the whole, you know, this is the reason covens covet each other and do these practices to learn and have the pros and cons going along, because you've got to refine the coven, because you actually can't control, in my mind's eye, whether it's an egregore or not. Just like the egregores we see amongst all of the systems that we're living under right now, they get like, you don't control life. It's to me, gift is not our egregore anymore, because we did it so collectively. And so that is a point of everybody's individualism in protecting their own space from whatever energies they don't want reaching out into that egregore. But it does speak to some plain talk when energies come in there with ill intent, because words mean things, but intent behind words mean even more things, regarding attacks and negative energy being amped up through the egregore like it's an amp battery, and then flooded out, you know, because of somebody's negative intent or some people's negative intent, intentionally or no. So yeah, there's a lot of egregore politics for me, and one experiment would to be to say that, you know, the egregores are going to come and go.
Well, here's the thing though, Jennifer, here's the thing. Throughout history, no one's really been successful with this. I do know the history here, and no one's ever really been successful. And what the three of us have learned is why they haven't. I even asked the Akashic Records. Brian's found out from guides. Lucky's found out from guides. With an egregore made by humans, the scale cannot be a balance of positive and negative like this, because there's still too much of a window for it to flip. It always has to be up on the positive side, always. Because if it's balanced, there's that opportunity, and it will take that opportunity because it doesn't know any better, because it doesn't have the consciousness that we do. So with knowing that, we have to keep it on the positive. In our human experience, oh yeah, balance the positive and negative, because you learn from the negative, all that good jazz. This is a creature we created. So it has to be on the positive, because if there's any even balance, because I even asked about that, what about balance? They said no, because it opens the opportunity for it to flip. And this is why no one has ever been successful. No one throughout history. Early in the spiritual movement, the college kids in 1968, covens break up over this stuff because, and why is it never really successful? Because I can't control what everybody's thinking. No one can control what everybody's thinking at all the time. So this is why Brian is giving them chakras, giving them boundaries, giving them this, giving them that. So we can at least try to protect from our human condition seeping in and even creating a balance, because balance isn't even allowed here. It opens the potential of flipping, and it has every single time throughout history. If we can accomplish what Brian's trying to do, if we can accomplish it not flipping, we will, I think, be the first. So that is what's going on. That's the reality of what's happening here. Sorry.
Stay in the knowing that it's already successful. Stay in the knowing. That's
right.
all it is.
Right.
No believing, just know in your heart that you've done it.
Yeah, I don't think it's not successful as it stands, though. Which is why
I mean successful for it to live out its days and not have to destroy it.
Yeah.
Everybody's had to destroy them.
That's the thing. I think even in the destruction of egregores, I don't feel you can destroy an egregore once it's made, not fully, because that consciousness has had air.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That element breathed into it, you know. So to me, everything about my esoteric knowing would be that to hide away and shrink gift away from the negatives and pummel the positives, is that when you hide a shadow of anything and hide it constantly in the shadows, giving it no light, then when it does get a taste of light, it's going to come out all hunched up like Notre Dame. And great to say I'm going to sleep a nun and watch them in the bedroom because I can, because I've been given no freedom to make mistakes. I've been given no freedom to learn. Nothing, the stars have to create a balance, and they are outside of our human form. The plasma light of the moon and the sun has to keep a balance, and they are way outside of our human form. I just think it's brought up a lot of discussion, no right or wrong discussion. I think, but what I do see as failing is that with all good intent, putting too much control on this thing, that's what makes it fail every time.
Well, this has been
too many rules. Too many rules.
We'll have to continue this discussion.
Break the rules,
we interesting discussion. I have to say that, and we really gone over. I appreciate this. I think we need more discussion on this. It's interesting, and this is what makes us unique. Wonder how God did it when he was creating, or it created, whatever. She or who.
That's for sure. But it's
like Jill says, it's a she, not a he.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
Anyway, it's all right. Panel, thank you. Much love to all of you in the chat room and listening. Thank you so much. You are just, well, we are family, and I love this discussion. And the gathering, I know, is coming in August. I'm sure that these type of discussions will probably ensure way into the wee hours of the morning. So I have no doubt of that. So thank every one of you. Hope to see you all next week as well.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Y'all are beautiful. Much love to all of you. And Soul Tribe, everyone out there in the chat room, thank you. Have yourselves a fabulous Saturday and Sunday. Make it the strong end of the week, whatever.
We go live today, Andromeda 7's going live again today.
Are they? Okay. There's been a while. So they're going live tonight, right?
Yep. I will be on there with the ladies and bar. So
we just surround you with night. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I know they were on a little sabbatical, so excellent. And all right, panel. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're beautiful souls. Everyone, much love out there. We'll talk to you